for Katie Chats here in downtown Toronto with director-producer Colin Brunton from the LAST POGO Jumps Again. What initially inspired you to make this amazing tribute to the punk scene?
Well, I made the LAST POGO was a short film I made in 1978, and 30 bunch of years went by. My youngest son Ollie was going to turn 13, and I thought maybe I'll hang out with him this summer instead of working. Had a nice camera, so I thought let's go out and start tracking down some of these old people from the scene and see what they're up to, and then it kind of evolved from there.
So when you were a youngster back in the 70s, you worked at the Horseshoe Tavern, is that right?
Yeah, I started off when I was in high school. I worked at the 99-cent Roxy Theater. It's actually a little snippet of footage of me in that archival footage. Then I went to the New Yorker. You know, Gary Topp brought the Ramones in, then he formed the Garys, and then I went with them to the Horseshoe. Yeah. And
what was it about that time, those few years in particular, that was so special to you that you wanted to revisit it?
Well, it's hard to say, because I'd like to think, like, on one hand I think, well, I guess when you're 23, it's the best years of your life, so there's like, you're within some amazing scene. But it was a really great scene. It was really creative, and it was a point, in 1976, I think it was a point where Toronto really started coming into its own, like sort of, not becoming world class, but becoming interesting finally. So a lot of things happened in 76, the CN Tower, Book City started, the Blue Jays got incorporated, and the Ramones came to town, and then the whole scene just started, and it was a blast.
And what really struck me was there were a lot of bars that are still around today and establishments that kind of took on a character of their own in the film. Can you speak a little bit to that and the history of those places that people may not know about?
Sure. Well, I mean, oh man, there's tons of them, and a lot of them aren't gone. Like the Colonial Tavern was a great jazz spot, and you know, all these jazz greats played there. And there's a basement room that was kind of not used, and they said, well, give this to the punks and let them use it, and that was a great place to go to. By David's was or Club David's rather, was like this gay club that one of the Valtones managers realized we can't get them gigs anywhere, we got to find our own spot. So they found this gay club, and it would be like a gay club until, you know, whenever, and then the punks would take over. And it's condos now. The Colonial's an empty space. The Horseshoe was like twice the size it is now. It used to smell like, you know, baklava and cigarette smoke and beer and barf and stuff. And then what are the Beverly? I mean, the Beverly was awesome. It was one of those, like it was a Queen Street dive. And I mean, the sad thing now, not only is the Beverly gone, but there's hardly any dive bars anymore. Like all the dive bars in the East End are closing up. So I think Toronto had a lot, like, on the one hand, before the whole punk thing started, Toronto didn't really have a really interesting profile, but it did still have, like New York City in the late 70s. It was kind of dirty, right? There was like these funky little places, and it's almost coming full circle. Like it's becoming more staid, I think, now.
How did you get all of your interviews in the film? I think there's like dozens of them. How did you get in touch with all of them?
There's like 200 of them.
Yeah.
And well, that was the thing. It was like, you know, we tracked down some of the usual suspects, like, okay, start with the people that were in the LAST POGO, then it lead on to this other person. And I think in the course of, you know, the almost 7 years it took to make this, probably 3 or 4 times I actually put in my blog, that's a wrap. And then Kire would say, hey, you know what, we should find this person. Oh, yeah, we'll go talk to that person. And it was kind of endless. And then I sort of realized after a number of years, I kind of realized, I don't know if I want this to end. Like, it just became part of my life to, like, make this film. It was so much fun to make it. So it would just, like, you know, it's like you know, the past is infinite, right? Like, we probably could have kept this going for another 100 years. We wouldn't be alive, of course, but like you could just go endlessly because there's always someone else to talk to, someone else to track down, and yeah, like that.
And what types of audiences are you hoping to touch with this film?
From 8 to 80. I don't know, you know. Yeah. Like, you know, we had an awesome cast and crew screening, so it's great that all the people that were involved have finally seen, you know, their history come alive. I'm really curious to see have a younger audience look at it, because I know that we talk about it in the film, but, you know, people that think about the original punk scene, they think of people with mohawks, and it just wasn't like that, right? And so just to give them a look at what Toronto used to be like when it was really exciting. Yeah.
And In the film, I noticed in the archival footage, all these punk guys or whatever were super like, I don't know, punky, I guess. And now a lot of them have cleaned up and seem so conservative. I don't know if you can speak to this, but like, when does that change?
Well, you know, you get older too, right? Like, you know, you can't wear a leather jacket all, you know, till you're 60, right? A lot of people are close to 60 now, and so you just mature, right? Like people mature.
How does it feel to be part of Canadian Music Week?
Oh, it's pretty exciting. I mean, it's a hard film to book because of its length. It's 3.5 hours, so they jumped on it. They wanted to do the world premiere, and it opened. It's going to play there on Saturday afternoon, 12:30, TIFF BELL LIGHTBOX, March 23rd.
And where's the best place to find out more information on the film online?
That would be thelastpogo.net.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, and best of luck with the film.
Okay, thanks a lot, Katie.
I'm Katie Allman reporting for Katie Chats here in downtown Toronto.